There you go.
So this chapter, it was intense to me because I lost my dad the day after his birthday. So it was like it
Oh, wow. So trauma and dates and yeah.
texted my stepmom probably 5 times. I was like, page 120. Pa- She's like, I'm not there yet. And I was like, girl, yeah. So yeah. Crazy. So let's talk about it. So this is chapter 7, which is all about trauma, Leviathan, and witchcraft. And let me get my Bible ready here because, you know, I am not the best driver. All right. First of all, I do want to say because a lot of people do watch this recording on Rumble, and I love you all and I appreciate you all, but this is just a fraction of what you will find in this here book, Serpent and the Soul. And
This is not in this class, it's not enough. You
yeah,
need to read the book.
even though you hear Jackie and I talking about it, go buy it and read it yourself. And then you can go back through and pretend to be part of the book club with us, and you will understand more of what we're talking about because it's good. It is so good. So, in this chapter, they talked a lot about Job and the Lord's confidence in him. And how the serpent can manipulate those around us into attacking. So it doesn't necessarily have to manipulate you into doing something terrible. It can manipulate someone else. Case in point, like there's these mass shooter people that I do not think were under their right mind. I think they were like under some sort of attack, like I called it demonic attack, but now I think it's some sort of serpent, some sort of demonic attack, honestly. But I think it's a little deeper than that, and I think it's because that old serpent is manipulating them into doing that wrong deed.
Because
It's
they've opened themselves up.
It's not that they went, oh, I think I'm gonna go shoot up a Catholic school today. No, these people, like, they were manipulated into this. This was not an overnight conditioning of the mind. This has been definitely manipulation over time. And case in point, he was talking about, the Sabaeans and the Chaldeans attacking and taking a lot of Job's things away. And it mentioned in Ecclesiastes, and I am going to
And 8,
10:8. So Ecclesiastes 10, verse 8. And I am going to do it in the English Standard Version just because that is the one I have, and that's where, like, it resonates deeper with me there. But he who digs a pit will fall into it, and a serpent will bite him who breaks through a wall. And if you can't give serpents holes. When you like get traumatized, it opens a wound and a hole for a serpent to crawl in and infest, and you just can't let them. You just can't. And I know that's easier said than done because a lot of times these traumas are marked on a calendar. Special dates, they reopen old wounds of ours. And I had it written down in here that my dad passed away the day after his birthday. And I could choose to let that be a wound forever, but I've never, like, the last two birthdays of his, I haven't seen it like that. Seen it as he reached a goal of his that he set. So I rejoice on that day because he reached a goal, and I thank God for him. He's waiting up at the table for me, and I love that he reached the goal because that's one of the things I always aspire to do myself and set for myself are little goals. And when I do hit them, I do kind of rejoice. So I'm very excited that he reached a goal of his. His goal was to see his birthday, and he did, by God. Um, so I broke that pattern that, that old serpent was trying to set by marking that date for me and for my stepmom. But, you know, it's your choice. Like I say, I always say this, it's your choice. When you go to a grocery store, you can stand behind the lady and be like, I hate her hair. I hate her, the way she's dressed, blah, blah, blah. Or you can reframe it and be like, I really like her shoes. Find something. Even if you don't really love everything, maybe it's the way she smells. Maybe she reminds you of somebody, like maybe, my coworker used to wear that perfume. Maybe it's not something you see. Maybe it's something you hear. But matter holds memory, and it is our choice of how we choose to form those memories. And Satan is looking for opportunities to traumatize you for sure. He's just circling around, and we are told in the Bible all the time that the roaring lion is just looking for something to, you know, attack. And so we have to break the pattern. And Job, he was, he was mad, but he never spoke against God. He got mad at himself more than God. He cursed himself. He didn't curse God, which was part of the thing that God knew he wouldn't do, and that's why he had such confidence in him.
I definitely resonated with them talking about, that we need to be mindful of cursing ourselves.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times, like with Job, he had anger, but he turned it inward, which became depression. And that happens to a lot of us. Um, and I think that that's something we need to, yeah, not hold the trauma and bury it so it can affect us even more. That which is put into darkness, the things that we try to bury rather than deal with, that gives even a bigger foothold.
Yeah. Um, so I'm gonna read Job 41 in the message, and you don't get an opportunity to pick your verses. Like it says 8 through 10, but in the message it's 8 through 12. So,
Because it's all together, right?
yeah. It so happened that as Zechariah was carrying out his priestly duties before God, working the shift assigned to his regiment. Oh, sorry. Dang it. When
Like,
I
that's not Job.
Yeah, I selected Job 41 first and then the translation, and I can't do that. Like it goes to whatever I was reading in that translation. Let's see if it gives us the opportunity for 8 through 10 here. Well, no, it's 1 through 11. Even better. Or you can pull in the sea beast, Leviathan, with a fly rod and stuff him into your creel. Can you lasso him with a rope or snag him with an anchor? Or will he beg you over and over for mercy or flatter you with flowery speech? Will he apply for a job with you to run errands and serve you for the rest of your life? Will you play with him as if he were a pet goldfish? Will you make him the mascot of the neighborhood children? Will you put him on display in the market and have the shoppers haggle over the price? Could you shoot him full of arrows like a pincushion, or drive harpoons into his huge head? If you so much as lay a hand on him, you won't live to tell the story. What hope would you have with such a creature? Why, one look at him would do you in. If you can't hold your own against his glowering visage, how then do you expect to stand up to me? Who would confront me and get by with it? I am in charge of all this and I run this universe. Also, I wanted to read that in the easy to read version because some people just need uh that. So, in that version you actually can segregate verses 8 through 10 out. So, here it is. If you ever lay a hand on Leviathan, you will never do it again. Just think about the battle that would be. Do you think you can defeat them? Well, forget it. There's no hope. Just looking at him, he will scare you. No one is brave enough to wake him up and make him angry. No one can challenge me either. And basically what's being said there is don't try to fight a Leviathan. That's God's fight. He's gonna battle him one mano a mano. Like, not to mince words here, but you don't want to F with God and you don't want to F with the Leviathan because they're gonna fight later. Like that's not your fight. That's not your battle. Just and I even have asked like lately, especially when I was reading the last chapter about Leviathan, I said to God, like, hey, if I have a Leviathan spirit in me, I need you to remove it. Like it can't be there. And it says in the Bible, it's written that it's your fight. So you have to be the one to take him out. Get him out of me. He is not welcome here. So, I mean, it's not our fight.
Amen.
And then the pattern that Satan uses is he creates storms to traumatize you. And then you become so wounded by the trauma of the battle that you grow bitter about it. And then out of the bitterness, you curse yourself and other people. Then you wish you were never born and say that you want to quit or even die and go be with the Lord. And that's exactly what happened to Job. It says, have you not put a hedge about him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have conferred prosperity and happiness upon him in the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. And you think about that, we have that hedge of protection over us, but if we allow trauma to wound us and make a hole in that hedge, that is where the serpent is going to find his way in to create storms for us. What do you think, Jackie?
I mean, we definitely, trauma is going to happen. I mean, the Bible even says that tribulation is going to come, but take heed, I've overcome the world. So that's the thing, is that we need to give our trauma to God, which is hard because we just want to take it back and hold it and stroke it. I don't know, because we're crazy like that. Um, and it does it, the more that we feed it, the bigger it becomes. And that's what Satan wants. He wants us to continue to feed our trauma, which is why he does do things on dates that, will affect us, that we're going to remember, that, and then just, keeps feeding in that story.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, it's like when they talk about, when they clean out the demons, and if you don't fill that void with something better, seven more worse demons are going to come in and take the space and be like, hey, look at this nice clean space. And that's what we do, is we don't fill the space. We don't change the narrative, as you said. We let Satan write the story, and we can't.
And, I found it really interesting that it was talking a lot about Simon Magus in this chapter, even though it didn't call him Simon Magus. It called him like Simon the Magician, but it's the same person. Um, Simon Magus, he did a lot of really shady stuff, but in the end, he got used for good. So God actually Genesis 50 him and his like little narrative that he was trying to pull off, but he turned it around and used the dude for good in the end. So even if you follow like this like ancient writings, because it's not all in the Bible, but if you look at ancient writings about Simon Magus, he was used by God for good in the end.
I love that.
Yeah. And then God lectured Job about Leviathan, and he reiterated, the fight is mine. Don't you dare. Remember your battle with him. Don't do it. Don't you do it. And another thing is like people that are trying to bind and rebuke and cast out demons in Jesus's name. Some of y'all, I mean, those are great and all, but what if it's Leviathan and you're over there poking the bear? Like the bear just might rip your head off, all right? It says in the Bible not to fight with him, to pray to God to come and remove him.
And I have always felt that way. I'm like, why do people like talk to Satan? He don't need to hear my voice.
Yeah.
That's God can talk to him. I don't wanna.
Yeah. And it talks a lot in this chapter about the courts in heaven, and it also was talking about exousia authority, which I love. I don't know how many of you know the word exousia, but it is a Greek word, and it is a judicial or governmental decision. And in Daniel, gosh, let me do okay, more versions. I'm trying to, oh, nope, not the UK, sorry. Not British. All right. So in Daniel, hopefully I'll do this right this time. Chapter 7, verse 9 and 10. Yay, I'm still in the CEV. It talks about thrones were set up while I was watching, and the eternal God took his place. His clothing and his hair were white as snow. His throne was blazing fire with fiery wheels, and flames were dashing out from all around him. What do snakes hate? Fire. Yeah,
There, yeah.
and that fun that he was, blazing fire with fiery wheels and flames are dashing out from all around him. I think it's fun. So, exousia authority, when used correctly, you can plead what Jesus has already done for us on the cross. And the ultimate exousia authority is Christ. I mean, he has the ultimate authority. But one of the things I loved in here was I decree that every special event, celebration, or date that has been marked by trauma from the enemy would be redeemed, and I would never be triggered on those dates again. I decree that all memories stored in my body, bones, muscles at a cellular level will be completely incinerated in Jesus' name. So I really liked that chapter. I tried to reach out a girl. She's been in Christianity for a couple of years, but she was a former witch and she dabbled in witchcraft. And I really wanted to like talk to her because I think she'd be a good one to talk to about this kind of thing. I really
Right.
did, but I don't think she even saw the message on Instagram. But I did reach out. She'll see it in like a year. She'd be like,
That's for you.
you messaged me a year ago. I get those all the time. They're like, oh, I never got this. It was in my other folder. I'm like, hi. Oh, goodness. But I am going to attempt to make the unleavened communion bread, and I found a recipe where it's like literally 18 minutes from like you set a timer for 18 minutes before you mix your ingredients together and you have to do an 18-minute from start to like when it goes in the oven thing. Sure. Okay. Oh, I hope I don't burn it or it might be a 21-minute unleavened bread. 18 plus. And
You're
I'm
going to do that this week? Because you've been talking about doing it for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah, I was trying to put it off for Easter, but with the march coming up this Saturday for the children, I
I
did
think it would be wise to do it before then. Yes.
told Glenda I want to make it for her little prayer for because we're meeting in downtown Chattanooga for that. And I do have a destination, but I'm not going to announce it like live on the internet or anything. Like, if you want to know, message me or comment below, and I'll straight message you because I'm not going to announce it on the internet. Um, I just don't want any weirdos or booby traps. I watch Scooby Doo. I'm Gen X. I don't. When I found out I was in charge of Chattanooga, I was like, okay, we're gonna guerrilla tactic this because I'm not an event planner and I've watched every single episode there ever was of Scooby-Doo, so I'm not, nope, I'm not here for any crazy.
Shenanigans. I'll be praying for you this weekend
Thank
for
you.
that.
There's like it's going on nationwide. There's like over 80 cities now, And I have been trying to make some solidarity with the other city leaders. So I hosted a couple of Zooms, and our last one is tomorrow night. And I'm really excited because it's working. Like we've all like we're like-minded people. We all volunteered to lead this march in our cities. And even though like some of the people I definitely don't align with politically, it's refreshing to see that both parties care about kids and that this actually is nonpartisan. It's very refreshing.
Love that and that's the way it should be.
So I'm kind of excited about that. But you know, this I'm also a citizen of the future, so I did message the guy that is putting the one in LA together, and I said, "Hey, um, I know it hasn't happened this year yet, but you know that we're gonna have to do this the first Saturday in March every year until things change, right?" So I'm gonna make a database of all the people and city leaders and what we've done, and that way, like, hopefully there'll be a little handbook in the future for the next year that the city leaders can like use.
It's great.
Because,
Do they have, are they doing one in Denver? I haven't heard anything, but that doesn't mean
yes,
it's not
um,
happening.
yes, they are. I um I know for a fact they are. Hang on. Yeah, TikTok deleted a bunch of stuff. They said that I was inciting hate speech, and I was like, what is wrong? Okay, Houston. Hang on. It goes better if I do it like this. I just scroll, scroll, scroll. Denver, where are you? Coeur d'Alene. I know there's one in Denver because I literally just talked to her like yesterday. Actually, here it is. Denver. Um, yes, it's going to be from 1 to 3 p.m., march through Civic Center Park, Denver. We are gathering peacefully in the spirit of love and faith to pray for the protection of all children, stand for justice and accountability in case of child exploitation and trafficking, advocate for the safety, dignity, and humane treatment of children in detention. We also remember the children whose lives we have that have been lost. We are praying for their souls and for comfort for grieving families. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Ephesians 5:11. So, Civic Center Park,
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Do you know where that is?
Roughly, not exactly, but roughly. Well, I don't go to Denver very often.
Um, yeah, it's funny because pretty much all of us announced our locations finally today. We've all kept them kind of like under wraps.
Right.
It's funny because no one really talked about that. And we just finally, well, I was like, well, I announced my location on my event on Facebook, but you have to actually be like a super sleuth to get to it. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
out on the internet blasting stuff. Um, and somebody was like, ha, I announced my location today too. And then somebody else is like, me three. And I was like, huh, it seems like we all did. So I'm excited about next week's chapter though. Super excited. Aren't you?
Every chapter's been good. And it's like it is building. Every chapter is building.
So chapter 8 is about Python and Python squeezing out ear gains. And I love this because I've also like the podcast that I found this girl on that wrote this book is called The Deep End, and he talks about Python spirit a lot. So it is something I'm familiar with on that side of it. So I may, reference some of the things I've learned from him as well. So I'm excited though because we learned about Leviathan and now we're moving to Python. So I'm very excited.
Keep getting bigger and bigger.
And, this is chapter 8, and I was looking, it looked like there was only 11 chapters in here, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So April 8th, we will be starting the Currency of Heaven, which I'm super excited about because I already have my copy sitting over there.
So on the last week of March, I will not be able to be in class on Tuesday because we'll be doing the uh dress rehearsal for the play at our church.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
On the 31st or the 24th?
The 24th.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought that was the last one, but no, the 24th. Yeah, the 24th. Because the play's on the 28th and the 29th.
Well, I may just do it by myself and go over it, or we'll play it by ear, girl. Lots
I could do it on Wednesday if you want to move a day like we did this week. I could do that.
perfect.
So you let me know what you want to do, but I'm just letting you know ahead of time that that will be a day that I will not be available.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you next Tuesday then.
All right, see you next week.
I love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.